Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, November the 19th, 2019. It is currently 8:30 a.m. Central Time, and this is a live broadcast for the Spreaker app. Now, if you hear a recording of this live broadcast and you would like to be able to hear us when we're actually live and to be able to actually hear all the things that I record, all the things that I upload, the best way to do that is go to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store and do a search for Spreaker. That's Spreaker. Spreaker. Download the app. Once you have the app downloaded, do a search for VBC, which stands for Victory Baptist Church. VBC, once you find us, it'll say VBC by Victory Baptist Church. Tap on the little by Victory Baptist Church. It'll bring up all of our podcasts. Go to each one, tap the little star, make us a favorite, then make sure you do the follow us feature. You'll have to put in your email and I think your name. And then guess what? You'll get notifications when we go live. And then every time we upload something, and guess what? I'll get a notification that we have a new follower. And that always makes us very happy. All right. Because then we know that people are using the Spreaker app because, well, we won't get into the whole latest app, the church app fiasco that's currently underway, because that news is just irritating and boring. So we don't want to talk about that. But please get the Spreaker app, please. I will come to your house and beg you if I need to. All right, get the Spreaker app. All right, enough with that. Let's get down to this news story. Oh, wow. Okay. There's so many different directions. This is a situation where I'm worried that this is not going to go well because I got a news story in front of me and there's so many different things to talk about in regards to it. So I'm going to hopefully try to walk through this systematically. And when I'm done, hopefully I covered everything I wanted to cover. Are you ready? Here we go. This is what happened. I woke up. I grabbed my iPad and I tapped on Apple News, the Apple News app, where I get news about what's happening in our world. I get news about what's going on in the world. I get news specifically related to things like music, things about Apple. I mean, all these different categories. Basically, it's a news app, all right? Apple News app. It's available on Apple devices. All right, I tapped on it. And the first story that I saw, here was the headline. Shawn Mendes called out for mocking Taylor Swift with John Mayer. Wow. Okay. And I'm like, wow. Okay, wait. That's pretty big. Now, for those who are musically, I'll be nice. Those who are not knowledgeable about musical artists in the world of music, Shawn Mendes, very popular musical artist. John Mayer, very popular musical artist. John Mayer at one time had some kind of relationship with Taylor Swift. All right. Shawn Mendes is currently on a new kind of a remix of one of Taylor Swift's songs. Okay, so just so you know, Shawn Mendes, musical artist, John Mayer, musical artist. John Mayer had a relationship with Taylor Swift. Shawn Mendes is on a new remix of one of Taylor Swift's current songs. All right. So here's the headline again. Shawn Mendes called out for mocking Taylor Swift with John Mayer. Now, as soon as I saw the headline, I'm like, wow, I mean, they had to say something pretty shocking for this to be like one of the first news stories I see this morning, all right? And then I did a search and I'm like, wow, there's an entire video report about this. I mean, what happened? I mean, I was thinking, man, I mean, why would Shawn Mendes and John Mayer go online and then mock Taylor Swift? I mean, that just seems like a bad idea. I mean, especially, it just seems like that's kind of a foolish thing. And I'm sitting there in my mind, I'm just thinking, man, what did they say? What did they say? But I kind of hit pause for a second. Oh, wait a minute. Shawn Mendes he's on one of the songs with her. So why would he be mocking her? And I'm thinking, could it really be that bad? Could it be so bad that they mocked her so bad that it called for a news story, for a video news report? So I was kind of like torn, like, okay, what do I do? Now, to the credit of the news article, the headline got my attention and the headline got me to, well, tap on the article. Now, of course, you could argue that's what their job is. All right. Okay. So I'm thinking they said something pretty outrageous, right? They said something pretty outrageous. So I need to find out exactly what they said. Now, I have been a Taylor Swift fan going all the way back to her very first single. I heard her very first single, and I began to tell people that she was going to be a gigantic star. She was going to be huge in music. And many people told me that I didn't know what I was talking about, and that she couldn't sing, and that she was basically garbage. Now, some people say, well, I like her, but I don't think she's ever going to be that big. And of course, it's a big, it's been a issue with me, because many times I will hear a song by a new artist and say, watch this artist. And many times I'm told I don't know what I'm talking about. And then whenever it's proven that I was right, I like to point that out. So I've been a Taylor Swift supporter for a very long time. Now, to be fair, I like Shawn Mendes. To be fair, I like John Mayer. All right, some of John Mayer's songs I like. I can't say that I've been a fan of everything he does, but I like some John Mayer, and I definitely like some Shawn Mendes songs, and I like Taylor Swift because, well, I love music. All right, so the fact that they were supposedly mocking Taylor Swift, I was like, okay. The main way I was thinking was, they had to say something really bad. That's really the way I was thinking. I wasn't really like, I'm a Taylor Swift fan, I can't believe this. I was more like, wow, they go online and mock her? I mean, and say something so bad that the news is reporting on it? Okay, I've got to hear what they said. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to play for you first the actual video of Shawn Mendes and John Mayer talking. Now, they did this, it looks like it was on Instagram. It looks like this was an Instagram video. Yes, it's Instagram. And so I'm going to play the audio from that Instagram video, and then we'll come back, and I'm going to try to offer no commentary. Then we're going to go to a news report about this whole controversy, right? This whole controversy. Then we'll come back and then try to think about this carefully, because there are two ways I want you to think about this. What does this entire situation say about the current state of culture? And what does this entire situation say about the state of the news media? Culture and news media. Now, to be fair, when we say news media, that's a big umbrella. There's a lot of things that kind of fall under quote unquote news media. It can be anything from, celebrity news. I mean, there's all kinds of articles that show up in your news feed from all kinds of different sources that some may say, well, it's not really fair to compare them to, say a CNN or a Fox. But I think that there is something that is happening within some so-called news media that is becoming very common that this situation highlights. So we're gonna look at this entire story, and we're gonna see what can we learn about culture, what can we learn about news media, and then we're gonna look at this, how should we perceive all of this from a Christian and biblical perspective. All right, that's my goal. I feel like I'm giving a military speech. In the military, you always have to tell everyone, this is what we're going to talk about. Then you talk about it. Then you summarize everything you talked about. That was the way you're supposed to do a speech in the military. I don't always like doing it that way, but in a way, in this case, it works. That's what we're going to do. All right, so we're going to listen to the actual video, the audio from the video from Instagram, where Shawn Mendes and John Mayer are talking about Taylor. Then we're going to listen to a news report about this entire situation. Then we're going to discuss what this says about culture, what this says about news media. Then we're going to look at this from a biblical perspective. All right, sounds good? All right, here we go. Here is the audio from the Instagram video. The quality won't be great because, well, if you'll see the setup I have here, it's not very high tech, but let's just pretend that this is high tech. And so if it sounds bad, just blame your equipment, not my setup. All right, here we go. Well, first we have to get a commercial.
Quesadillas?
All right, here we go. We're going to skip that.
Seems like just an okay use of your culinary.
Here we go.
Well, it's not featuring Taylor Swift. It's Taylor Swift featuring you. And so go check it out. Also want to say, I like the song. I like the song very much.
Thank you. Did you like my verse?
I love your verse.
My songwriting.
Love your verse. And I'm only going to say one thing. And I know it's going to go far and wide throughout the media, but I'm a guy. I'm a musician. I can talk about a song. Love the song. I really like the song. I get a little chuckle because she says, we could keep the Christmas lights up till January. And I go, you're insane. Everyone keeps their Christmas lights up till January. And I go, can you really? Because normally I take my Christmas lights down on December 29th. But anyway.
Do you like the song?
I love the song. And I love your work on it. Were you in the same room, or was it sort of hard drive?
No, I was in Australia.
You did yours from somewhere else?
Yeah.
Got it.
Now that's it. I'm gonna try not to start laughing here, but that's it. That's the controversy. Now remember, here's the headline. Shawn Mendes called out for mocking Taylor Swift with John Mayer. Now I ask you, was that mocking? Was something said there that was so outrageous that it requires a news report? I want you to really consider that. Now, all right, I said I wasn't going to offer any commentary, and look what I'm doing. I'm offering commentary, okay? But it's just hard. You would have to have been in my house. I was like, oh, wow, okay, man. They mocked Taylor? What did they say? And I played that video, and I want you to hear this, all right? I played that video, and immediately when it was over, this is what I said. I said to myself, wait, that's it? That's it? That's the big mocking? I could not understand what the story was. I was really convinced that I was missing something. I was really convinced that maybe I had clicked on the wrong video and that something was quite not right with what I saw. Like I was convinced that maybe I was confused. I was thinking that maybe I didn't understand the situation. So I had to go back and check. I had to go back and check everything and try to make sure that I understood what was going on. And I apologize for my dog in the background. I had to really double check it and go, wait, that's the right headline. That's the right video. Where's the mocking? Where's the thing that should cause such outrage? I was somewhat confused by that. But okay, again, here's the headline. Shawn Mendes called out for mocking Taylor Swift with John Mayer. That's the headline. All right. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to the news report about this. Listen to how they handle this. Are you ready? Here we go.
It looks like John Mayer was laughing about Taylor Swift's Lover lyrics while he was with Shawn Mendes, and obviously some Swifties were not having it. Hey everyone, it's Susan Morad here with Clever News, and over the weekend, John Mayer, who happens to also be Taylor Swift's ex, hosted his Instagram live talk show with his special guest, Shawn Mendes. They talked about Shawn's verse in the new remix of Lover, and John did say that he loves the song, but that's not what caught fans' attention. At one point during the live stream, John said he gets a little chuckle out of the song because of some of the lyrics.
I get a little chuckle because she says, we could keep the Christmas lights up till January. And I go, you're insane. Everyone keeps their Christmas lights up till January.
It's not a secret that a lot of people who decorate their houses with Christmas lights at Christmas time leave them up until January. So it is something that can be common, which John seems to find pretty funny. During the live, Shawn laughs at John before getting back to talking about his verse on the track and saying, but you like the song. And John responds, I love the song. But later on, John brought it back to this whole Christmas lights thing and saying, we can keep the Christmas lights up till January, and then about January 5th, we'll take the lights down, and then we'll put them in a box, and we'll label that box Christmas lights. Yeah, we'll put them in the attic until next December. And while some people might be able to see the humor in this lyric, John might have taken it a little bit too far, given that this is a song by his ex about her new boyfriend. Obviously, some Swifties are up in arms over this, but others thought it was just all in good fun. One person wrote, quote, I'm not trying to justify him or anything, but I genuinely think he liked the song, and he was just saying he found those lyrics funny. He was actually very nice and polite. Another said, quote, pretty sure the entire fandom made the joke about leaving the Christmas lights up until January, but now two men do it? Even though they both said they loved the song multiple times and it's an issue, y'all need to relax. But the Swifties are divided because some are coming after John for making fun of Taylor's lyrics. One person wrote, quote, Siri, play Dear John. And another said, They are trying so hard to be funny, I have to laugh. But fans weren't just upset with John. They were also a little bit upset with the way Sean handled the situation. One person said, "Is this Sean showing his true colors or something? Because yikes." Another said, quote, "I'm really disappointed in Sean, WTF?" And another fan wrote, "Did he only become friends with Taylor to get Camila? Yikes." I mean, Sean was a guest on John's show, and I can imagine it was probably going to be a little bit awkward for him to call him out in that specific moment. And to be honest, I feel like I can see Sean looking uncomfortable when John started making his jokes, and perhaps that's why Sean tried to take control by bringing it back to talking about the song. John said on multiple occasions that he actually really loved Taylor's song and seemed to just be making a joke, but I guess we'll never really know for sure what his intentions were unless he tells us himself. Both Sean and John haven't commented on this fiasco just yet, and neither has Taylor. But something tells me that's because Taylor has way bigger things to deal with right now. As you all know, Taylor has been stuck in some pretty complicated drama between Scooter Braun and former Big Machine Records owner Scott.
Now there you have it. There is the news report. And they call it a fiasco. And John Mayer, nor Shawn Mendes, nor Taylor Swift has commented as of yet. It's a fiasco? It's a controversy? It's a big deal? You classify it, you call it that John Mayer and Shawn Mendes was mocking Taylor Swift? Really? Is any of that accurate? Is any of that even describe what actually occurred? It's two people talking about a song. One of the people are actually on the remix of the song, on a remix of the song. And they make a little joke about one of the lyrics. And then just on an Instagram video. Now, an Instagram video where two individuals are talking about the lyric of a song. One of the individuals is actually on the remix of the song. And that becomes controversy. That becomes a fiasco. That becomes, something that we need to talk about. Now, how do we look at this? Remember, I've told you we're going to look at it from two perspectives. Perspective number one. Let's look at this, or not really perspective. We're going to look at it in light of two things. That this entire situation should cause us to think about what it says about the news media and what it says about culture. Let's first look at what this should say about news media. There is a trend with a lot of internet media, a lot of internet articles, a lot of, sometimes even, major news reports sometimes, and it goes something like this, all right? Something happens, right? And you just say, this happened, and then you report by showing tweets or social media posts about people responding to what happened. And then you'll be like, this happened. People are upset about it. Insert tweet, insert tweet, insert tweet, insert tweet. Wow, it seems like a lot of people are upset about this. End of report. So basically what you're doing is you're reporting on a situation by simply showing how people are responding to the situation via social media. Now, first, that's not really news reporting, all right? That's simply following people on Twitter and then grabbing their tweets and then reading the tweets or posting the tweets in your news article as if somehow you're doing some kind of investigative reporting and you have your finger on the pulse of society. All right, there's a couple of issues with this. What happens is when these news reports do this, they give you the impression that everyone is up in arms about this, that everyone is upset about a situation, and they do so by giving you, they show you 5 tweets, 6 tweets, 8 tweets, or Facebook post, or Instagram, whatever, and they'll give you 5, 6, 7, 8, okay? Well, wait a minute. 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 100, 300, post doesn't really give you an indication that everyone is upset about this. There's a lot of people who don't even have a social media account. There's a lot of people who may even be on social media and they're not even posting about that particular topic. So when you say, oh, everyone is upset, the internet is outraged, people are mad, when headlines read that way, is that an accurate is that an accurate representation of the situation? In other words, does it really capture the mood of the country? Does it really capture the mood of the majority? Or all it really capturing is the mood of those individuals who posted those particular words on social media? In other words, in that news report we just heard, they were reading from social media accounts. They were going through and grabbing some tweets and like, oh, these people are upset about it. Oh, these people are not upset about it. And they're trying to give you the impression that this is a big fiasco and all kinds of people are upset about it. The people are outraged about it. How many people are outraged about it? What is that percentage? How many posts? They didn't give you. There have been 2 million tweets about this situation. Now, if they gave you that number, that would give you I'd give you a better idea. They just took a sampling of some. They didn't tell you how large a number they're pulling from. So they give you an impression that people feel a certain way, and they don't. And I think I have fallen for this. Many people fall for this. You'll see a news article and you're like, man, everyone's upset about this situation. This is crazy. And then you have to stop and go, no, wait a minute. All they showed me was 15 tweets. Does that mean everyone's upset about it? Does that mean that this is an outrage? What is it? What are they actually demonstrating? The fact that news reports now report on tweets it calls into question the news media, and it calls into question that they kind of manipulate a narrative. They try to tell you that this is a big deal when it may not be a big deal. And I think that gives people a wrong idea of how society feels about a situation or how people think about a situation. I mean, they'll like, everyone feels a certain way. I mean, everyone was convinced that Trump was not going to win the election. And they were using everything from polls to social media. They were and they were wrong. Now, I'm not saying that that's a perfect example of this. I'm just saying that when you see a news article that tries to tell you this is a big controversy and people are upset about it, and their proof of how big a deal this is, that this is a fiasco, is 5, 6, 7, 10 tweets, and they don't even tell you how large a sample they were pulling from or how many actual tweets of talking about this. You need to pause and go, wait a minute. Is this really a big deal, or is this being manufactured to act like a big deal? Because, of course, if the news media can convince you it's a big deal and it gets you talking about it, getting you tweeting it, getting you sending their article and posting their article, then it really manufactures a situation that really isn't that big a deal, but it may be able to become a bigger deal. For example, look what just happened. We have a news report telling you, hey, this is a big fiasco. Everyone's posting about this on social media. So what happens within culture? A lot of people have social media. So they may grab that story saying, well, everyone's talking about this on social media. I'll post a link to this article, hashtag it, and then I'll be a part of the larger conversation. And then maybe I'll get a lot of retweets, or maybe I'll get some likes or some follows. And I think it kind of creates, it manufactures a situation that doesn't really exist. And then people looking in from the outside gets a perception that something is bigger than it is. I think this entire story is another example. It's just an example of a larger problem. And it needs to cause every one of us to pause and go, like, again, when I read that headline this morning, in fact, let me pull it up again. Shawn Mendes called out for mocking Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift fans are slamming Shawn Mendes and John Mayer for making fun of her Lover lyrics on Instagram Live. Okay? Now, that sounds like, okay, fans are upset. How many fans are upset? I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I'm not upset. I don't even think this should be a news story. I don't even think this should be an issue. Now you're like, now I know what you're saying, but you're talking about it. Yes, I'm talking about it to try to demonstrate how this is a bad thing for society, okay? Because this is the news media creating something that really isn't there, creating kind of a fake controversy to get everyone talking, and they do so. And again, I just want you to see how next time you're online and you read a news article, look at what actually is the news article. Literally, sometimes it'll be like one little sentence and then it'll be all these tweets. And you're like, so your news article is what people said on Twitter. What difference? When did the people on Twitter become a source of anything? In many cases, it's just people's opinions. And again, those opinions are not necessarily reflective of the majority of people within society. They reflect the opinions of people on Twitter. And even it doesn't even reflect everyone on Twitter. It only reflects those individuals who they pulled from on Twitter. So they can make it look like that the majority of the people feel this way about the situation, but they're only picking the tweets that they want to use. And even if they give a 50-50, like here's 5 that are for the situation and here are 5 that are against it, that's still not even reflective of how, quote unquote, the people on Twitter feel. That's a small sample. So I'm saying that the news media is not really doing news. They're just reporting on tweets. And number 2, that it's giving you a false impression and it's causing you to maybe misinterpret the seriousness of the situation or what people actually feel about the situation. All right? It's not a perfect example of it. Now, to be fair, I try to be fair. News media has always done this in some way. It's just a little different the way it's done in 2019. So we have to be a little bit fair here. It's common for the news media sometimes to do a man on the street segment where they'll send a reporter out. It could be like in front of a department store and a mall. It could be anywhere on a college campus. And they'll say, today, like, for example, the big news story is the impeachment of Donald Trump. So the news media will send someone out on the street to do random interviews going, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me, sir. So what do you feel about the situation in regards to Donald Trump being impeached? Do you feel it's right? Do you feel it's wrong? And they'll try to give you a sense of what the people in society are feeling. But typically, the difference is those stories are just reported like, hey, we went out today and here's some of what people had to say. They don't necessarily use that to say, everyone's upset about it. They don't really try to, and well, I guess maybe sometimes they even manipulate that. So I guess this is an old technique. It just looks a little different today when you open up a news article and all it is tweets. So this has probably always been something that's kind of been done in the news media because you go out, you interview people, and let's say you want to give the perception that everyone believes Trump should be impeached. Well, you go out on the street, you do interviews. Let's say you do 30, 40 minutes of talking to people on the street. You come back. You hand that audio, that video to the editor. The editor then cuts out the ones they don't want and cuts out the ones they do. And so this is what they can do. They can have more people saying, yes, Trump should be impeached, and then have 1 or 2 audio clips of people trying to defend Trump but are not articulate and sound really dumb. And then you use that. And then when the people watch the report, they're like, man, it sounds like most people want Trump impeached and the people trying to defend him are idiots. Now, news media has done that well. That gives you a wrong impression of what is going on. Now, it can be useful because it may give you an idea of how people are thinking about it. But the key is if you're editing out only certain responses, because the news media doesn't say, this is what they don't do in a news report. We went out today and we interviewed 47 people. All right, and we're going to play for you the audio of all 47 interviews. Unedited. No. They don't tell you how many they did, so you don't know the sample size. And they don't tell you how much editing occurred within those clips. They could be cut all to pieces. So you're not being given an accurate perception. That everyone should call into question that kind of journalism, right? What we just heard is a news report where they just took tweets that they wanted to use. Clearly, that wasn't all the tweets on the situation. How many tweets were tweeted out saying, guys, this is nothing? were more tweets saying that it's nothing than versus the number of people who are upset. In the original article, in fact, let me pull it up. If I go to the original article, give me a second, it's loading. I'll pull up Apple News here. All right, let me go back to this because I want to be fair here. I just want to show you how this works. Here's the original article. Shawn Mendes called out for mocking Taylor Swift with John Mayer. All right, and of course they're the ones who had the video. Now, if you go down, they have some tweets, right? And this is what it says. John Mayer mocks. Naturally, fans of Taylor are upset with Shawn's reaction. Well, first of all, no, not all fans of Taylor are upset. I'm a fan of Taylor, not upset at all. They're also angry that Shawn hasn't spoken in defense of Taylor. I'm not upset that Shawn didn't come in defense of Taylor, since he claimed. So because then they get into another controversy with Taylor Swift, which you started hearing there, but I'm not going to get into that. Okay, one fan called Shawn useless, and another tweeted, so not only did Shawn not say anything, John called Taylor insane and bleep on the Xmas Lights lyrics. I don't want to hear from a single Shawn right now. No, come on. That person's all upset, calling useless, that he didn't do anything, that John called Taylor insane, and I don't want to hear him right now. I mean, that's just one tweet, but I'll go get one that obviously shows anger. And then they mock. Then they have someone who mocks some Shawn Mendes lyrics and mocks some John Mayer lyrics. Like, okay, you said this about my favorite star, so I'm going to retaliate against you. It's just crazy. And then there's others here, and there's just a number of tweets. Shawn not saying anything for then doing a live stream with John Mayer of all people. Men are useless, truly. All right, so now I guess it's an attack upon men. All right. Shawn had 45 minutes to talk about Taylor's situation and stand by her side. And all he did was to promote his remix of Lover and also make fun of lyrics with John Mayer. The ungratefulness. Shawn Mendes mocking Taylor and John Mayer's live. No words. What a despicable excuse for a man. I can't believe Shawn Mendes just talked about the Lover remix for 5 minutes straight on John's live stream, but can't find the time to come up with a simple tweet defending her. LOL. As it stands, Shawn is yet to address the backlash. We shall update you if he does. See, that's how the article reported it. Now, please note, they only picked out the tweets that were angry. They didn't even bother to include any tweets that said, come on, guys, you're overreacting. This is nothing. It's just a joke. Calm down. No. They only gave us the tweets that showed outrage. See, and that completely, so that gives you the impression, oh, wow, everyone is upset about this. Does it? Does it really? You see, that's news reporting. They tell you basically they have a link to the video. They basically kind of summarize what's in the video, and then it's tweets, and that's a news article. And guess what? If Shawn Mendes, Taylor Swift, or John Mayer says anything, this is what they'll do. They'll take what they say. Here's the response to this backlash. Here's the response to this controversy, and then they'll show 5, 6, 7 tweets responding to the response. And that's considered news in 2019. You just need to know how not to fall for this and not to be manipulated by it. This says something about news media. We fall, everyone can fall into this. You're looking at a news article and you're like, man, everyone's upset about this. This is a big deal. You don't really know how big it is. It may be a big deal, right? I want you to make sure you understand that. It could be. Look, right now I can start trying to do some research, and maybe there's been 5 million tweets about John Mayer and Shawn Mendes mocking Taylor Swift. Well, if there's 5 million tweets, All right, that gives you an indication this is a pretty big deal. I don't know. I don't even know if it's a number one trending topic on Twitter right now. I'd have to look. Hasn't even been a number one trending topic. I question that it has been. This has probably been a little drop in the bucket. Much to do about nothing, but some news sources have jumped on it to try to make it a bigger deal. So that's the first thing. This says something. What does this say to us about the news media? All right, number two. What does this say about some people within culture? All right. Now, this is a very important topic here. Within culture, in fact, I think I have some notes here that I grabbed a definition here. All right, yes. I found a definition, and I wanted to share this definition. Call-out culture, also known as outrage culture, is a form of public shaming wherein people identify offenses committed by members of their community and publicly call out the offenders, thereby shaming or punishing them. Call-out culture or outrage culture. Now, how does this work? Okay, this is what happens. Something occurs within culture, and people then become outraged, upset, and they take to social media to publicly shame an individual, to call out an individual, to punish the individual because that individual committed an offense, and people are offended by it. People are outraged by it, and they're going to speak up, and they're going to use Twitter and use everything else to express their outrage. Now, we have to be fair about this. There are times things happen that are really messed up. And the fact that the individual in 2019 has a voice and they can express their frustration, they can express their outrage, that is a good power to have. Because in some cases, there was a time where you didn't have much of a voice. For example, let's say a company, all right, a company does something pretty messed up. They don't treat you right. They don't handle a situation right. They rip you off. There's something that they do that's not right. Now you can say, okay, dear company, okay, no matter how big the company is, okay, I'm gonna include you in the hashtag, and I'm gonna send out a social media post outlining exactly what you did to me. I'm gonna give the details, and I'm gonna let everyone know what you did, and that's gonna cause you some You're ignoring me. You won't listen to me, so I'm going to take it to the community at large, and I'm going to call you out, and I'm going to express my outrage and my frustration with how you treated me, or the way you handled this situation, which is inappropriate or wrong. That gives people some power, and that's a good thing, because there could be times in the past where a company could be like, we don't care, just go away, and ignore an individual. Now someone could actually speak up. Someone could warn everyone else about how this company did things. That is a power that we are thankful that we live in a free country where people have the ability to speak out. So it is a good thing. And we want to make sure we are balanced in this. Having the ability to let everyone know when something outrageous occurred, when something occurred that people should be offended by, it is a good thing to let that information be known. However, we now live in a culture where now again, I've got to be careful here because I don't want to commit the error of the first point, right? Creating a situation that may not be accurate. I will say this, there is a perception in 2019 that many in the culture find a reason to get upset. They find a reason to be offended. And because they have this power, everything is an offense. Everything is a source of outrage. And everything requires going to social media, creating a hashtag, and just bashing everyone, attacking everyone, just going crazy because this is an outrage. It's almost like they had a good power that should be used carefully and only in certain situations, and now they take that power and that becomes their purpose in life. Look for something that should be offensive and make it the source of, make it my purpose in life to find something to be offended about, find something to be outraged about. Because if I can get a hashtag going, then I can be a part of this movement to fix the wrong. And it's almost led to, it's almost led to a crazy situation where people are literally, the wind blows the wrong direction and they're like, outrage at wind today, hashtag hate the wind, hashtag stand against the wind. And it's like, I can't believe the wind is blowing from the south today when it should be blowing from the north. This is outrageous. And you're like, really? You're upset about the wind? It's like everything is, now again, that's the perception. Now, why do people in society perceive that? We can go back to the first point. The news media creates an outrage because they'll go to anything that's supposedly outrageous and run to social media, giving you the perception that everyone's upset about it, which maybe they are, maybe they're not. I think we can agree, though, that there is a tendency within many in society to be upset about stuff and go to social media. And they do find some purpose, like they are accomplishing something by speaking their outrage about a situation on social media. They feel like that they're a social justice warrior. They're taking a stand. I just want to make sure you know your tweet probably won't do a lot. Now, if it's directed at a specific company and you bring enough attention, that company may have to back down and change a policy. So it can have some good, but a lot of times it's just a tweet. It's just noise. But there is a tendency for people to get upset about it. Now, clearly, in this case of Shawn Mendes, John Mayer, Instagram video, speaking, quote unquote, mocking a Taylor Swift lyric, making fun of it. I don't even know. I think just having a little joke about it. I don't even know if you can really call it making fun or mocking the lyric, just having a little joke about the lyric, which people do that all the time about lyrics. I think that there are clearly some individuals, now I don't know the number, who are outraged about it. And they are mad. And they are offended. And that leads me to the second part. This does say something about our culture. The reason that there's a definition about outrage culture or call-out culture is because there is an element of truth to that. There is a culture today that everyone gets upset. Everyone gets outraged. Everything needs to be a hashtag. And it almost demonstrates that people have become so easily offended by everything. You don't have to be offended by everything. Not everything is going to agree with you. People are going to have different opinions than you. People are going to have different thoughts than you. Do you truly need to get upset about everything? This is one of the dangers of social media. You can't spend your life going from one controversy to another controversy to another controversy. You can't do that. And I apologize for the phone. You can't. And it's easy to get caught up on that in social media. Let me give you an example. My time on social media was relatively short, right? I don't want to get into that long story, but I discovered quickly that something, and this was Facebook many years ago, all right? And this is what would happen on Facebook. It seemed like every day there was just one controversy after another controversy. People would fight about this. People would fight about theology. People would fight about religion. Everything became a fight. Everything became a debate. Everything became an argument. And you would find yourself getting pulled in, even though you didn't want to. You would post something, right? And you wouldn't even think it's that big a deal. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, you'd be like, wait, who are these individuals? Now, I don't even know who these individuals are. They've never posted anything on any of my stories. They never say a word to me. And then they just show up. Dun, 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 dun. And they're like, here I am to tell you why you are wrong. Now, to be fair, when you post something on social media, it has the ability for people to comment on it. You're posting it publicly So people obviously have a right to comment on it publicly. So you have to be prepared for that. But here's what happens. You post something, then people post something showing that they don't like your post, they're offended by your post, they disagree with your post, and the next thing you know, you're having an argument. I'll give you a famous example. I was taking a course on the writings of Tolkien. I think we were focusing on Lord of the Rings from a Catholic university. All right? And the professor made some comment that basically he felt that Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, were basically overhyped, that they were given way too much praise, that they really aren't that great, and that they somehow benefited from them at times showing up on required reading list and in many schools and many situations like that, and they just became like this. Hey, these are amazing books, and because they supposedly are amazing books, everyone else says they're amazing, and he made an argument they're really not that great. In fact, he kind of was very antagonistic towards them and kind of said that they stink and they're garbage. Now, my feelings with Lord of the Rings, especially the movies and especially the books, it's hot garbage. I don't like them, right? So I made some comment. Now, I was taking a course literally on them, okay? And so I made a statement, and I think I made a quote. Oh my goodness, you think I would have just killed someone's kid. You would have think I just literally kidnapped someone's kid and killed them because everyone was so mad at me. My Christianity was called into... You are a Christian and you think the Lord of the Rings is garbage? You're not a Christian. My Christianity now gets called into question. I knocked over... Obviously, it was a golden calf that I knocked over. I did not know the Lord of the Rings was such an idol amongst Christians. That is the high point of art. All art should be judged by the Lord of the Rings. And I would be like, maybe the Lord of the Rings should be judged by all art. And I don't think it's that great. And the movies are complete garbage. They stink. Okay. But Now, I didn't really even think it was that controversial. I mean, I'm taking a university course on this subject, and the next thing you know, and I'm just simply sharing, and it's controversy. Now, again, everyone had a right to express that, but they expressed not just a disagreement, they expressed personal offense. They were offended. They got their feelings hurt. They were angry. Some people blocked me. Some people, they couldn't be friends with me because I spoke negatively of the holy form of art, the Lord of the Rings. Now that's ridiculous. But I found myself involved in controversy after controversy after controversy on Facebook. And at some point you have to kind of go, this is just ridiculous. This this shouldn't be the way it works, but it's what happens. It's what happens. And if you've ever been on social media, you can sometimes find yourself on that. Someone will post something. You see it. And you're like, man, I disagree. And sometimes what you will do, you will then, and you never really speak to the person on social media. You don't really know anything about the person. Somehow you following them for somehow. Or maybe you're following someone that they know and someone you know made a comment under that article. And so now you're going to jump in on the article and you don't even know the original poster. You don't even know who they are. But you're going to jump in because you feel like it's time you've got to express your outrage or your disagreement. So social media creates an environment like this. We have the power to express it, which is a good thing. But it creates a situation where we become caught up in a culture, an online social media culture, where it just seems that we go from one controversy to another controversy, and everything is supposed to offend us, and we're supposed to speak out against everything. Now, I think there's a time we need to speak up. I think there's a time we need to do so. But from a Christian, now I'm going to transition into how a Christian should think about all of this. All right. So let's transition in how a Christian should think about all of this. Well, one, I think a Christian needs to rise above the news media and have more wisdom and how to perceive what is happening within culture. Let's not get caught up into the let's not buy into a narrative that the news media tries to give us. If the news media tells us today that everyone is upset because Shawn Mendes and John Mayer mocked Taylor Swift, let's rise above that and go, okay, some people are upset about that. How many, I don't know. Now, we could take a time to look and see, has it been a number one trend on Twitter? It hasn't. Has it been a number one trend on any other social media platform? If we may want to look and go, it's not. Now, I'm not saying that story is even worth looking it up. I'm saying that there could be other news stories where the news media is trying to give you a perception that everyone is outraged. And you may want to just stop and go, okay, how are they measuring the outrage? And you may come to the conclusion, a lot of people are upset about this. All right, this is a real issue. Now what you have to do is try to determine, okay, everyone's upset about it, but how many people are following along with the narrative? Like, for example, the impeachment. You'll get a news report saying, 70% of the people believe Trump did something wrong, or 60% of the people want him impeached. Okay, how are they basing those numbers? How are they basing those numbers? So we still have to stand back and try to figure out exactly what is going on, because the news media creates a narrative that I don't think is accurate. We as Christians need to rise above that and tell everyone, calm down. Let's think about this. All right? I think that's the first way. Second, a thing Christians have to do. We have to rise above call out outrage culture. We have to rise above it, all right? And this is what I would say. We have to rise above it in the following way. We can't allow ourselves to just be offended by everything. And some scriptures came to mind. This is not a exhaustive list, but here's one. Proverbs 19:11. All right? Proverbs 19:11. The King James Version reads this way: "The discretion of a man deferreth his anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression." The discretion of a man deferreth his anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression. The ESV states it this way. It may make a little bit more sense. Good sense makes one slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense. Good sense makes one to be slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense. There are times that we should just overlook something that quote unquote is offensive. There is time we should just be slow to anger. It's good sense. We should pick carefully what battles we should engage in, what things we should be upset about, what things we should be offended about. And then when should we, quote unquote, utilize outrage culture, call out culture? When should we do so? I think there's a biblical model. If we're upset about something, I think this is a very important model. The Bible gives this is kind of a model on how to handle things within the church, but I think we can apply this model to things everywhere. If something is happening and within culture, first and foremost, if it's happening with an individual or an individual you have access to, try to address the issue with that person in private before calling them out publicly. That's the first thing. All right? Try to handle it privately. If that doesn't work, then maybe bring 2 or 3 witnesses and then try to speak to that person again in private. And then, and only then, if you feel it is then necessary, you may want to call out the person to the people who need to know, right? Maybe to specific individuals, right? Maybe if it's something with a Christian, maybe contacting their church, right? Maybe doing that, but trying to handle it. Then if necessary, then going public. For example, if it's a company, you could possibly try to handle it first by going to the company in a private email going, hey man, this has happened. This is wrong. You've done me wrong. I'm asking you to resolve this. And if you can't resolve this, then I'm going to take this public and I'm going to make this a hashtag and I'm going to give them the opportunity to do so publicly, privately before you take it publicly. All right. So I think we've got to be smart in how to handle it. But here's another thing. We also need to not walk around and just jump at everything to be offended about and everything to be angry about. We have discretion. We can be slow to anger. We can overlook an offense. We can overlook an offense. We need to understand from a Christian, what is our motivation? Is our motivation just to make noise, or is our motivation to help the situation, clarify the situation, correct error? Christians on social media sometimes they just get upset and outraged about everything, and everything is a controversy. Everyone's fighting about this and fighting about that. I think sometimes it's best just to take a break and get away from it all. Now, it's great to have I see social media is a double-edged sword. And the news media is a double-edged sword as well. Sometimes they provide us good information about what's happening in the world. Sometimes they're giving us a narrative that's not even true, and it hurts our perception. And social media is a double-edged sword. It's great that the individual has a voice. It's also negative that we use that voice to fight and be offended and get mad over everything. All right, I'll stop right there. Went much longer than I wanted to, but there's so many different ways to go. And I also apologize that within this live broadcast, we've had multiple things to interrupt us. My dog decided to start barking, and I had to let him out of the room. And then he got ready to start barking again. So then I had to go take him from one room, bring him to another room. And then the phone started ringing. And all of that happened during a live broadcast. Now, I don't know how distracting that was. I'm going to go back and listen and see, but hopefully this will give you something to think about in regards to culture, to the news media. And again, this is not even a story about Shawn Mendes, John Mayer, and Taylor Swift. No. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how this story gives us some insight into how the news media works in 2019 and about how outrage culture works in 2019. That's the takeaway from this. All right? And everyone needs to go, wait a minute. How do I approach news media today? And how do I handle outrage culture? Here's a scripture I would end with. Know this, my beloved brethren. Let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. James chapter 1, verse 19. That is probably something we need to all remember. All right, everyone have a great day. Thank you for listening. Email me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. Please get the Spreaker app, Spreaker, Spreaker. Look for Victory Baptist Church or VBC. You'll just want to look for VBC. You should find us. I think there's another Victory Baptist Church on Spreaker, but you'll know us because you'll see all of our podcasts, Hermeneutics 101, Socratic Circle, Victory Baptist. You'll see all of them. If you can't find us, email me and I'll give you a link. All right, everyone have a great day. God bless.